Good evening. I hope you all are doing good. On behalf of ITP Media, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all along with our esteemed speakers for today's webinar session. Autodesk and Manufacturing Today presents Reengineering and Redesigning Building Products and Fabrications for the Future. I thank you all for taking your time out today from your busy schedule to be part of this interesting session. Today's topic is much interesting to me and I believe to all our audience who are live with us today. I'm extremely happy to see an overwhelming response for today's webinar, as there is much to learn, share, and be among the experts who will be giving their insightful on today's topic. In the age of changing design requirements, building occupants and users are looking for an increased customized products and solutions, which is closer collaboration with the suppliers. Recent surveys indicate that highly collaborative relationships being key stakeholders and being BIM compliant are very critical to the project's success. My name is Sanjay Ban. I head the manufacturing vertical at ITP Media, and I'll be your host for today. Let me just quickly introduce who we are. And there are many attendees who will be with us today, who are new to ITP. ITP was founded in 1987 in UK, and the company subsequently relocated to Dubai. We publish around 100 plus weekly and monthly magazines and with range of portfolios on the digital platform, along with our conferences and events. Manufacturing Today is our flagship brand for the manufacturing industry in India. This is a monthly magazine, and we work very closely with the industry on bringing out some of the best credible content, insightful stories, news, articles, and product write-ups in our magazine. We are also available digitally with our digital edition, which can be downloaded on manufacturingtodayindia.com. Along with that, we also have a good social media presence. Today's session is extremely important for all of us, understanding the building innovation when it comes to redevelop and redesigning of the building products. Let me introduce our first speaker today, who is going to be a presenter from Autodesk. Kirti Malavaru is a senior technical specialist at Autodesk with Design and Manufacturing Solution Group with a background in mechanical engineering and over 16 years of experience. He is currently responsible to enable manufacturing customers to develop their digital roadmap. Before joining Autodesk, he has worked with thermal analysts on projects ranging in scale from defense, aero, and construction industry. Let me welcome Kirti. Let him start his presentation. Over to you, Kirti.
Thanks, Sanjay. Thanks for the introduction. Let me quickly share my screen and just let me know when you can see it. Good evening, everyone. Thanks again for joining today's session. So I'll not take much time. So for the next 10-12 minutes, I'll basically set the context for the evening and how the evening will pan out in this discussion. So for today's topic or the event is primarily focused around one of the, I would say, disparate manufacturing industry segment, that is on the building products and fabrication segment. If I have to define, and I'm sure a lot of people might be familiar, might not be familiar, and if I have to define this industry, we call it as BPNF industry, it's basically any industry which designs and supplies any manufactured products or components for a building. So that's basically a gist of this industry, which provides manufactured components and products for the building. Now, before we get into that, let's look at why this is very important and why we are looking at this industries and what changes this industry is currently undergoing. So before that, let's look at what's happening in our sister industry, that is on the AEC industry, or we call it as architectural engineering and construction industry. And there are some emerging trends that we are seeing in this industry, which is making that much more competitive, much more adhering to the ever increasing market needs and demands. So some of these trends that is, driving the construction industries, and I'm sure everybody would be familiar with something that is BIM, that is building information modeling. And this is not something new. This has been there from a pretty long time. But in the last couple of years, we have seen a lot of industries, owners, as well as governments making adoption of BIM a mandate, which is giving them a substantial benefit, not only in terms of the project delivery, but also in terms of profitability. At the same time, construction industry is also voraciously working towards having a much more sustainable environment. So they are working towards having more greener buildings, having energy efficiency at the core of their design and construction. At the same time, also looking at a complete net zero environment as well. And we are also seeing, I would say, a radical shift in the way nowadays building or the design and, I would say, installation rather than construction of a building, with the emergence of prefabrication or modular construction that is happening. So we are seeing a lot of similarity, that is with the manufacturing industry, that is with construct off-site, but at the same time install on-site. So you're basically constructing your building in a factory floor and you're installing it on-site. And lastly, something, with the need, with the government as well as the industry push towards having more smarter cities, now there is a need for the buildings to be much more smarter. So this is basically leading a very, very unique approach, an industrialized approach in the construction industry, where they are basically looking at applying certain best practices, I would say, of the manufacturing techniques in the built environment. So some of the very, very good practices that is being followed in the manufacturing industry, it could be in terms of the data connectivity, or it could be in terms of vendor management, it could be in terms of agile manufacturing, is something that is being seriously looked at as well as adopted by the construction industry, and being in line with those emerging trends that we are seeing. At the center of this approach, or at the center of this particular, I would say, radical shift, is building information modeling, or BIM, which is basically an approach or a process to completely control, track, and provide accountability to all the stakeholders who are part of the ecosystem of the building life cycle. It starts right from the core concept design to your planning, to your construction, your operations and maintenance, and even to the end of life of the building in terms of renovation and retrofitting as well. So now this is becoming a cornerstone for all the construction houses, building houses, as well as certain governmental mandates as well. BIM is being the epicenter of the entire building life. Now this puts a very unique challenge to all the industry who are supplying manufactured components to the building industry, basically the building product and the fabrication industries. And those industries, could be suppliers of building products, it could be your windows, your doors, your furnitures, your false ceilings, or it could be even in terms of equipments, equipments either that goes into a building, or equipments that also goes into a plant as well, like your condensers, your pumps, your chillers, etc. And also a lot of traction, as I said earlier, on the prefabrication element parts of it, where you need to basically manufacture the building elements in a factory and then install it on floor. At the same time, this is not just limited only to the building suppliers, but also to the custom fabricators as well. Nowadays building requires something very aesthetically made, let's say a staircase or a very, very beautiful facade, structurally efficient facade, or even form works that goes into the construction or the building construction as well. So this is now being driven not only by the construction or the owners, they are also mandating, apart from their civil ecosystem, even the building product manufacturers be part of the entire BIM life cycle, so that they are not just focused only on the design and the construction side of BIM, but also on the operations, maintenance, and retire part of the entire building life cycle. So all these building supplies, product supplies or suppliers will be a part of the entire BIM ecosystem, which ensures the owners as well as the construction houses to better trace, better track, manage the various different elements in the entire life cycle of a building in a very, very seamless way. With this, there is also a wish list from these construction houses, from the end plant owners for the building product manufacturing industry. Their wish list is they want the industry to be much more adaptable to the ever-changing need. They want more innovative products. They need to adopt to mass customization to cater for that ever-increasing demand. Ensure that you have multiple design options. You are able to very quickly customize your products or give your products out for delivery in a very, very shorter period of time. At the same time, be a part of the BIM ecosystem. So what I mean by that is the data that is being generated should also be a part of the BIM protocol or the BIM mandate for those owners or those construction houses. So this is becoming a reality day by day, and it is an opportunity rather than a challenge. I see this as an opportunity for all our customers, for all the customers in the building product industry, to elevate from a much more transactional nature of the business to a much more collaborative business platform, where you are an integral part of the entire building life cycle ecosystem rather than just one-to-one transactional nature of the business. So this gives a unique opportunity for this industry to be in line with the emerging trends and also be a partner for your end customers or your clientele as well. And this changes everything. This can enable you to change everything, right from your business model. From being just a supplier, now you can look at being a strategic partner. From just providing a static product, you can look at a host or a plethora of configurations or options that can be delivered very quickly, very fast, and in a very, very robust way, so that you are able to cater to the increasing demand of your clientele. At the same time, on the other spectrum, also help you to basically respond to a bid faster, at the same time much more accurately as well, ensuring that you are able to manufacture faster, fabricate faster. And also you can also look at having an additional source of revenue with an added consulting and services in line with your product, making it intelligent, making it smart, and making it compatible with a smart building objective or the requirement as well. Now, this is an interesting thing. Now, your clients are our customers too. This gives us a very, very clear perspective of the needs and demand from both the spectrum of the industry. that is from the architectural, engineering and construction industry, at the same time from the design and manufacturing industry as well. Because we at Autodesk, we cater to the construction industry as well as for the manufacturing industry as well. So we understand the requirements from the both the sides of the perspective, and we are uniquely positioned to basically help you deliver your deliver and enable you to align with the business objective, with the trends which the construction industry is aligning towards, helping you to not only in the product design phase but also provide platform to create a host of matrix of configurations which can enable you to respond faster, quickly adapt to the changing requirements, and at the same time collaborate efficiently with your end clientele and be a complete part of the BIM mandate or the BIM process. And the way we do it is by enabling a complete platform driven approach, helping our customers in the building product manufacturing industry to deliver an end to end product life cycle, right from my concept to my design to my engineering to doing analysis, understanding any kind of structural nitty-gritties of that product, enabling fabrication and manufacturing in a very faster time, thus reducing your cycle time, at the same time also helping you to create and develop a very highly efficient factory for your end production. Not only this, we are very uniquely positioned to also cater for your end clientele's requirements to be on the BIM protocol as well. So tools can help you to basically go ahead and provide data which is in as per specification of a BIM requirement as well. So any data that is generated from a design tool gets specced in a BIM process, and it acts as a repository which can be later recognized during any part of the life cycle, during operations, maintenance, retrofit, or even the repair part of it as well. So let's look at a very simple example as to how this process can enable our customers to very seamlessly cater to the construction industry right from a very seamless workflow. So if we take an example, right within a design tool, I'm basically accessing a building data, which one helps me to very quickly create, design or modify based on the context of the building. So in this case, it's a balcony. So based on the number of floors, I can very quickly use automation engine and provide a host of multiple configurations to very quickly adhere to the demands, generate your production drawings very quickly, which can be sent for fabrication, and as a means of handover or during the commissioning stage where you need to share a BIM recognized data with your end clientele, you can basically have a platform which provides a data which gets recognized in whatever the BIM platform your end clientele is using. And when I say the BIM content, it's not just a reference 3D data, but all the metadata which is very unique and very important for you to complete the process and be on an enterprise level BIM for the customer as well. So adopting these kind of end-to-end workflows or end-to-end strategies can help our customers to be much more agile, to be much more robust and win more business. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kirti. Thank you for this insightful and wonderful presentation. Now we are waiting for our next session, which is our panel discussion, for which I think all of us are waiting very keenly to hear from the speakers. We have one of the eminent panels today for this session. And let me introduce and welcome Mr. Ganesh W. Jirkuntar. Ganesh has demonstrated excellence in managing multi-dimensional activities in his 24 years of experience. He started his career with Tata Chemicals, and later he has worked with Larsen and Toubro Cement, Ultratech Cement, and Lafarge Cement. He acquired global industrial experience in Canada, USA, and UK, traveling extensively around the world while being exposed to global best practices. On his second inning with Dalmia Cement Bharat, Ganesh has now taken up the responsibility of spearheading cement manufacturing of the company in the East and Northeast region as Senior Executive Director. He has joined DCBL after a successful stint with Ultratech Cement and CEO, Executive Vice President of East Operations. Welcome, Ganesh. We have with us Veera Pandian, who is a technical sales leader for design and manufacturing at Autodesk India and SAARC countries. He has nearly 20 years of experience in manufacturing industry. In his earlier part of his career, he has worked with several material handling projects for customers like MRF, Ashok Leyland, TVS Lucas, Hindustan Lever, Engine Valves Limited. In his current role at Autodesk, he leads a team of technical specialists and works with manufacturing OEMs and vendors to assess their current design, engineering, manufacturing processes, and put together the right set of solutions to help them improve the best practices. Veera is a mechanical engineer by profession and an associate member of Institution of Engineers. Welcome, Veera.
Thank you, Sanjay.
We have with us Mr. Manoj Arora, who is head projects Jindal Steel and Power. Present responsibility are managed to develop steel projects, both domestic as well as international, under the GSPL umbrella to control their cost, quality, and time schedule. He has worked with steel manufacturers like GSW, Jindal Steel, and GSPL, engineering companies and project management companies like EESL and EPMCL, and technology suppliers like SMSC MAG, and acted as a project manager for Tata Steel, Bhushan Steel Limited. Welcome, Manoj. We have with us Mr. N. Ravi Shankar, who is the Director Engineering and Quality, Otis Elevator Company. Ravi Shankar is an engineering leader with 30 years of experience, spearheading in GE, Otis, Kirloskar, and BEML. Extensive experience in product introduction, technology transfer, value engineering, quality management, and domain spectrum comprising of wind turbines, power generation, mining, locomotive, and elevator industry. Currently, engineering and quality leader manager, global lead technology design center at Bengaluru, and driving enterprise quality for Otis India. Ravi is a leading new product introduction for top to bottom line growth, technology incubation, and substance, product lifecycle management, wing-to-wing enterprise quality improvements, service productivity, and enhance and digital transformation. Welcome, Ravi.
Thank you.
We have with us Mr. Nagaraj Loganathan, who is the Vice President Manufacturing, Bongfiloli. Mr. Nagaraj has graduated from Madras University in Mechanical Engineering in the year 1990 and did his MS from Quality Management from BITS Pilani. He started his career in Coimbatore as a production supervisor in textile machinery, and later he moved to Rane Madras Limited in 2000 as a production in charge for steering gear products, and joined Juice Japan on TQM. Established a strong base of TPM through pillars like Kobisto, Kaizen, Jishishu Hoizen, and planned maintenance in the shop floor. Elevated as plant head in Rani and Rani Engine Values Limited since 2019, working as Vice President Manufacturing, Bongfiloli India Private Limited, comprising 3 plants in India. Bongfiloli is an Italian-based company primarily involved in manufacturing transmission gear drives for windmill mobility and industrials. Welcome, Nagaraj.
Thank you.
We have with us Mr. Sudeep Kolte, Vice President Sales and Marketing, Saint-Gobain Gyprock Business. Prior to his role at Saint-Gobain, Sudeep was Vice President Sales and Marketing, Consumer Paint at Kansai Nerolac. Additionally, Sudeep served as Portfolio Manager, Asia Pacific Middle East, previously as Vice President Sales, B2C at Shell. Sudeep has been in the sales and marketing for over 25 years with various functional levels, head to whole-time director to a business. His robust knowledge entails business and strategic leadership, brand stewardship, and channel management, and is coupled exposure to optimizing sales and marketing operations, supply chain, space, consumer orientation, and B2B. Welcome, Sudeep. Sudeep will be our moderator for this session. We have with us Mr. Santosh, Director Large Strategic Product Johnson Controls. Santosh is a mechanical engineer with MBA in Operation from Symbiosis International University. Business professional with proven track record of success in streamlining operation, managing customer relation, maximizing productivity, and improving results for his last 23 years. He has worked with various industrial and manufacturing facilities, Navy and Marine, critical infrastructures like data center, airports, and large commercial stage of the facility. Specialization in industrial process, refrigeration, HVAC, life safety and security, building automation, energy and sustainability. Working with Johnson Controls for the last 14 plus years, presently is working as Director Large Projects, Large Strategic Projects. Welcome. Now I'll give it to Mr. Sudeep Kolte to take the proceedings of the panel discussion.
Thank you, Sanjay, and good evening all. Indeed, a pleasure to be with all of you and such an august panel. A variety of backgrounds, different kind of engineers, different materials, different processes, and all this combined with what we would say the IT digitalization part of it. So I think here we are in the world of pandemic, virtually talking to one another and trying to understand the role of technology. And I'm sure there are many technologies which India will leapfrog and embrace as we go through this journey. So without much ado, let us understand what the industry leaders are doing and why they're doing what they're doing. So in what we heard from Kirti earlier was around industrialized construction. Can I request maybe Veera to elaborate some more on that concept? I think it was something interesting. Can you detail it, please?
Yeah, thank you, Sudeep, and good evening, everyone. That's a good question. Industrialized construction has been making rounds, or it's been adopted as a practice throughout the industry. So, industrialized construction is a construction system that uses more innovative and integrated techniques that connect the design to the manufacturing process or the make process, if I might say. So, industrialized construction promotes the advancement of construction processes by employing mechanization and automation. So there are several intents behind the industrialization of construction. Some of the key things are substituting labor-intensive process with machines, fast-tracking the rate of construction, increasing labor productivity, commissioning more projects quickly, reducing costs, and also incorporating augmented reality and virtual reality in the construction processes. And ideally, one of the other intent is to overall improving the quality. So these are the main, some of the intents behind the industrialization of construction. So as we see, as the lines between manufacturing and construction continues to blur, disrupting everything from the materials used to the labor market, construction companies are adopting manufacturing techniques to complete their projects faster, safer, and with less wastage. That's what I would want to explain about the industrialized construction.
That's useful, Veera. Given your background, Ganesh Johnson, would you want to add to the discussion?
Thanks, Sudhir, and good evening to everyone. And thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure. And I think welcome to all the attendees to this webinar. See, Sudhir, the way I see, it's again meeting the customer needs. What exactly the user wants. And in today's time, the user wants the best quality, lowest possible cost, and the comfort of being green, or comfort of meeting their whatever requirement they are looking at. And I think industrialized construction is a need of an hour. And particularly in India, the way we are speeding up our infrastructure development, the construction time has to be reduced to such extent that we should be able to meet the desired targets of our infrastructure development. And my experience in the Western world, if you take a house, I think most of the components are prefabricated, precasted in the workshop, and then those are transported to the site, and then the house is built within the shortest possible time. And that's the biggest advantage of industrialized construction. What they do is they prefabricate the components of the house or whatever products you are trying to manufacture, and they transport it to the site, and the house is built. The biggest benefit of having the industrialized construction is, as I said, is the high speed of building the house or manufacturing the product. But at the same time, you can try many innovative techniques. Like if you look at the global requirement now, you have to be green, right? Every product has to have that kind of a green stamp on it. I think we should be able to use different varieties of raw materials when you are doing the manufacture and fabrication in the controlled atmosphere in the workshop, right? Instead of going on the site and trying those things and getting exposed to the different environment. So that's the biggest advantage. You can do a different trials, fabricate those components of a house or that final product in a controlled atmosphere, achieve the better quality, achieve the lowest cost, reduce the labor, and also on top of it, completely eliminate the impact of the external climate, external environment on your product quality. Like if in a normal circumstances, when you are building a house, you are exposed to the rain, you are exposed to the wind, you are exposed to all kinds of external atmosphere. And on top of it, even if you are constructed, if you are not curing the plaster properly, the quality of the plaster goes down, and you end up losing the longevity of your house, right? So the industrialized constructions gives you that value for the money by adding the speed to the construction, getting your product in the shortest possible time. You can do much more than what you can in a normal construction activity and that's the way you can expedite or you can basically improve the productivity of your manufacturing thing. Also, the safety factor, it's a great improvement in safety because you are working in a workshop, right, rather than in on external site. So this also helps you to improve the safety at the workplace. So I think this is the time, this is the need of an hour for us. And for the country like us, I think it's really critical for us to go for industrial construction.
Ganesh, I think as someone who's been the custodian of customers, it's really nice that I'm hearing my counterparts from operations talk of customer needs. I heard very broadly two themes which you talked about. It was around, you talked of trials, RMs, and you also linked it to sustainability and a variety of benefits in terms of new product. Any quick example you want to state on this?
See, in a workshop, like you have this alternate raw materials, right? Plastics or any other, which is not the biodegradable, right? So which creates the pollution. You can do a different trials and use those kind of materials in designing the components and manufacturing those components, right? The waste materials you can use in a controlled atmosphere, right? And then still use manufacture the better quality product, right? So that kind of a greenness to the product you can definitely create. Yeah, it will take some time, but I think this kind of a controlled trials, controlled atmosphere where we do prefabricate the components rather than going to the site, I think that gives us the leeway where we can use those innovative techniques.
I sincerely appreciate that. I think what we can do is we can build on the good inputs we have got from Veera as well as from Ganesh. And can we discuss something about, say, the process of designing and manufacturing of building products, fabrications? How can it be made more collaborative, streamlined, future ready? If I can ask you, Manoj, to step in on that.
Like what we discussed just now about the industrialized thing. So if I just give you a glimpse, in the steel business, there will be an investment of 2 trillion rupees in this construction and fabrication setup in next 10 to 11 years.
Just in terms of when you look at, say, designing and manufacturing of, say, the products, we are working with steel at this point in time. How can it be more collaborative, future ready is the kind of thoughts I wanted you to share.
What you people are doing, ITP is doing is the collaborative approach only. Like we are exchanging the data. So with respect to exchange of data, benchmarking the things and following the best practices. This is the collaborative approach we have we need to follow for industry. And if I talk about the steel sector, they all over world is integrated, but the designing done in China are say in GB standard. Designing what we do in India and manufacturing what we do in India is based on IS standard. So for the future ready point of view, if we have a system, if we have the like a software where we can convert one standard to another standard and use the product what we manufacture in India in an automated way, that could be more useful for the complete industrial point of view.
Yeah, thank you, Manoj. Appreciate that. I think the gist of what I picked up from what you said was around benchmarking of data, sharing best practices across industries, and of course, making sure that India becomes world class in terms of manufacturing and trying to create global standards. So that is very useful. If you can pick up a tangent to this, what did you see the role of new technology and design solutions such as BIM in delivering products and projects as per the client's requirements? I'm sure you have a variety of clients and requirements which are kind of varied. So if I can ask Ravi Shankar to please come in on this.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Hopefully I'm audible.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Welcome to all the attendees and also the panel members. Thanks a lot for giving an opportunity to present on behalf of vertical transportation industry. As you know, that vertical transportation industry was already in the cusp of digital evolution and had made long strides in this area. You know, basically during the COVID situation, a fortunate thing is it got accelerated. For instance, Otis was known as the engineering product company, and it's transforming it to be a digital solutions company. How? It is all through the technology today. In every stages of our design, manufacturing, supply chain, including the installation and also the buying process, we are compelled to use the technology. That's how this vertical transportation industry is evolving at this point of time. Let me give you a couple of examples. One of the most dominating example when it comes to vertical transportation industry, the traffic analysis within the building. You know, for people to understand the flow of people movement within the building, there are technologies available. We are fortunate to use a traffic analysis algorithm which decides the number of elevator, lobby space, elevator sizing, and the speed of the elevator. Depending upon the algorithm, it decides and positions this as a very useful information to consultants and customer. We also use the destination dispatch control mechanism, which is titled as Compass, which is one of the high-tech provision what we probably see in automotive sector for the traffic management. And especially today's millennial customers will be definitely savvy about this kind of technology. Let me give you another example. When you talk about building, it's all about, like Kirti talked and some of the panel members have already talked, it's all about aesthetics and design the building for a very good appeal. Otis has come out with a tool called Otis Create, which provides the flexibility for the architects and designers to choose what styles are required, what colors are required, what configurations of the fixtures are required, and they can also generate the layout drawing out of this. So this is the way the technology is really helping every quadrant of the business, be it customer or be it installation. Let me talk about another example of the installation team. You know, when it comes to the installation, the biggest challenge what anyone would see is how the project management is done. We have a web-based tool, which is titled as SIP, and this facilitates the flow of information right from the booking till the elevator is handed over to customer. And it is also very visible to customer. And this tool generates the audit reports, installation assessment periodically, so that both supplier as well as customers are in the happy note always. And let me give you another example, which one of the panel members, definitely Kirti, talked about the management of the building after its inauguration. We have elevator management system called remote elevator maintenance system, which has the data acquisition capability and continuously provides this information to our call center, and through which we can remotely manage the elevator in the event of any safety concern, or we can also monitor the performance of the elevator. When there are group of elevators, we have a solution called EMS, Elevator Management System Panorama. which gives you visibility of all the elevators in the building, how it's performing, what is requires attention. Like this, we are compelled to use the technology for the elevator operations, and this all coming through the digital evolution, whatever is happening in the industry. Let me give you two more examples, which is very interesting because some of the panel members talked about the green evolution. We have been using the regenerative technology, which is derived out of Gen 2 platform, which probably you might have heard about this platform about 2 decades back. We invented this Gen 2 technology, which is working on the principles of regenerative, and this gives a power back to the grid, which consumes a very, very minimal power for the elevator motion. And this is one of the technology which is coming out as a very, very handy, the eco-friendly and very eco-friendly product for the today's need. And another example, as you know, that during the COVID situation, all of us were talking about the touchless entry to elevator, and Otis had the privilege to blend this Bluetooth technology and come out with a solution called eCall, through which we could enter the elevator without touching any of the components of the elevator. And this is so the technology is evolving over a period of time for the situation, for the customer needs, and the compelling demand from the society, and it is making the product and people to be very safe. And this is what is going to be also the journey in the coming days, that blending the technology for the success of customer, for the success of the BPF players, and making it as a very good eco-friendly product is the roadmap ahead, whatever we have.
That's really smart and sustainable, Ravi. Appreciate it.
If I can add, if you allow me to add.
Yes, please. Absolutely.
So my thoughts on this collaborative construction is, see, apart from the product, the customer needs experience.
Correct.
So when it's building a house is not only building a house, but creating that experience, what is required for him, right? For him and his family.
Correct.
So it's really, really important for us to be collaborative, either with the customers, with the stakeholders at the global platform, or at the individual levels, or at the individual house builder level, or even the master. So, and how do we do that? I think it's really important for us to involve those stakeholders in whenever we are planning for building a product. It's a house or any other building product. I think to move forward, I think this BIM will be the biggest tool for us, which can really create that kind of a collaborative platform for every stakeholder to contribute when we are creating the product. I think what does BIM is I think it creates that virtual model, which really incorporates the information or the feedback from all the stakeholders, and then create that virtual model, which will have those inputs, and then the customer can see what exactly is being on the what it will be on the ground. So I think this kind of a digital tools we need to use to create that collaboration, which will further down the line create that experience for the customers, whether it's a small product or the house. I think that's the way forward for us as a construction industry, to use these tools like BIM or the 3D printing or those kind of tools we will have to use for creating that experience for the customers.
Absolutely agree, Ganesh. I think whether it's AR, VR, or use of technology to enhance the experience, I think that's what we expect as consumers or customers, and our customers will expect no different. Can I request Santosh to come in, please? You have a tough task to follow, Ravi.
Yeah, Sudeep. Yeah, good evening. And I think, I thank ITP for giving this opportunity. I also see a lot of, esteemed participants who are industry experts who are actually present in the, audience. So thank you, everybody. So I will just touch upon, I think we talked a lot about, Mr. Ravi Shankar talked about the vertical, transportation, or the industry where we see, one part of a building. But just to brief, Johnson Controls is all about end-to-end solution when it comes to any building, let it be airport or any data center or any large infrastructure, let it be metro or any building which you can see, and if you look at the product range, it starts from the HVAC, which is like the chillers, which you all know. There's also life safety systems, which we keep seeing about the fire detection, access, and CCTV, which we call as a surveillance system. We also see nowadays, the smart city which are used during the pandemic. Just to have the overview what's happening around the city. So like integrated command control center, ICCC. So those concepts have actually evolutioning very fast in recent past. And I just look at this context and the Autodesk, the product which we called as a building information modeling. So just to give a relevance, like what Johnson Controls do, like we are into a building automation system where we design the all systems within the building. We also have a graphics where we represent the data. But there is the beauty, like if you integrate this building automation with the building information, it's like I can actually see, instead of just seeing a pop-up on the fire detection or the chiller, I can actually go to that floor, rotate that particular floor, look around the chiller if it's a suction pressure or any particular sensor which is damaged. So it's like lively walkthrough, and where Johnson Controls and Autodesk, they're working together to get this building automation and building information integrated. And as we go ahead and there is a evolution in the technology, I think the next level which we all talking about is the twin. So the digital twin, which is very early stage of development, but I think everybody want to now not only see the data, but they also want to simulate the performance. Let it be like a lift, or let it be a chiller, or let it be any equipment in the building. Before installation, everybody want to play around with the parameters, actually simulate the data. And I think Autodesk has that capability. I think the expertise which Autodesk bring to the industry is a huge. I think digital twin will be the next big thing which is coming up as we go ahead in the industry. As I said, like I have seen this construction. I mean, when you look at to any project, or the construction industry, that is the fast. I mean, it's far away from adapting the technology. I mean, you can go to the manufacturing, let it be car or any other manufacturing. They have adopted so many technologies very fast, and the construction industry is still lagging that. But I'm very happy in last couple of years, these things have changed. Now people are started thinking as industrial construction. It's not only the construction. Like, can we use the best practices in the manufacturing to improve my productivity? And I think the biggest factor is the safety, because when we avoid a lot of things at site, the safety is something which we always look for. It's not the quality. I will always prefer safety above quality and all those things, because the human safety or the safety of the people working around, it's of a paramount importance. I think the industrial practices are slowly moving to the construction, and we are seeing this prefabrication or the 3D printing kind of things, or the modular construction. I just give you an example, like in Cochin shipyard, the first industrial Indian vessel, which is like the aircraft carrier, which is built by Indian government. All the ship was fabricated in a modules of 700 plus, where the simultaneously teams are working on all modules, and the whole thing was put together. I mean, these are all large, the equipments, which is like, we can imagine the time if we just start with the foundation and then put the next floor and the next floor. Instead of that, the parallel teams working. I think the building information modeling has a tremendous potential, not only in the building which we are seeing, but even the petrochemical projects or the power plants or any warehouse manufacturing. I think this is the future, as I said, and people don't want to do any rework. They don't want to take any risk on the quality or safety. And I think this particular model will not only help at the design. I mean, just look at the workflow. So when we have a design, we use those building model. The architect, engineers, they collaborate with the vendors. When they actually start the construction, the same model is used further. And the biggest, or the lifespan of the building, which is called as a facility management, the same digital assets get transferred to the facility, so that they can have all metadata for the equipments. They can have all vendor details. The service tickets can be raised from building information modeling. So I mean, the whole life cycle of the building is covered by this, the tool, which is building information modeling. And I think there is a far better future than what you are currently saying. And as I said, digital twin is something which we are all working, looking forward to get into that stage. So that's all from my side, Sudeep.
That was really reassuring, Santosh. And I think the point you make on it's not only automation for the sake of it, but bearing it with information and making sure that it's leveraged is very, very pertinent. The other thing I can tell you, being on the other side with a strong customer interface, is most of the existing people are really worried about cost and time overruns. and hence are kind of reluctant in that sense to try anything new. They're working with laborers, with stakeholders who are not as educated. What they don't understand is actually these are the solutions which will take away all the problems you're struggling with today. But I guess it's a journey from, as you say, the more evolved sectors to possibly the construction sector. I'm sure we'll quickly adopt all the new facets. So
Yes,
that
Sudip,
way,
I think every technology, it was threatened by the job taking away. That's not the case. It has never happened. So even this technology will allow us to work on something more value-added activities. That's what I
true.
believe. It is
I
not
fully,
going to take anybody's job. That's for sure.
absolutely with you on that. Actually, you get bumped higher in the value chain. So, Veera, on that
Yeah.
note, if we were to look at the BIM mandates, how do you think they're getting enforced? We have heard many people talk of digitalization. What's your view on that? So, I think what we can do is we can take a different perspective. If I were to come to you, Ravi, I know you have a hard stop at 5:45. Is in terms of, say, keeping tab on key designing, manufacturing processes, but still trying new technology. Would you say it's important into this thing? So I'm hearing a lot of we should, but why?
Yeah. In fact, somehow Veera got disconnected. It was such a coincidence that I can pick up the thread from there. He just mentioned that naturally the last decade has been a transformation for every sector. Basically, including the vertical transportation industry or any other sector, followed the basic principles of KPIs. KPIs were always around cost, quality, on-time delivery. This has been the traditional KPIs across the industries and for a couple of decades. What's happening in the latest trend in the market is customer is not just satisfied with on-time delivery or the cost of the time. They are also looking for the experience, customer experience, aesthetics, reliability of the product, and also the safety aspects and the green requirement. These are all the evolving expectations. Probably these things are also to be treated like a KPIs from the customer point of view. Just to mention few things, I just wanted to give you latest thing, whatever is happening in our company. We had to develop a e-commerce portal. When we developed a product, along with the new product development, we had to develop an e-commerce portal for launching this. And we are now looking at the elevator being sold like, basically any other e-commerce components, any other e-commerce items. Elevator is getting sold through the web pages. With a 3-step approach, we can sell the elevator, and it not only gives the option of selection of the colors, styles, and also the layout information for a tier 2 and tier 3 cities. We were able to develop the solution and to blend the technology and user convenience. This was one of the KPIs which is coming out in the latest as a trend in the market. Let me give you another important feature. We talked about the COVID, the touchless solution. For the same COVID situation, we were compelled to introduce the antibacterial features, be it a light or be it a fan, for making it to be less virus or less impacting from the COVID. We had to introduce these kind of things. And another important thing, the IoT, cloud, and artificial intelligence is spreading all across the industry. And I just mentioned about the remote elevator monitoring mechanism, what we had traditionally. Now, with the blend of IoT, we have launched the Otis One solution in different countries, and soon it will be also coming to India. And with this, we can access the data right from the elevator and about the passenger travel and comfort factors, and also give the solution if there is any discomfort, and also continuously monitor the health of the elevator, performance of the elevator, and the robustness of the elevator. These are the technology advancement, what is happening across the industry, be it in the automotive sector or in the healthcare sector. We have to blend all these things to make sure that the product, whatever we deal with, is also delighting the customer. And these are also the KPIs. Let me talk about the field technicians. We are today providing the mobile phones, smartphones for our service people, because they are supposed to have the necessary data-rich portal so that they will be able to do the maintenance and order the spare parts and look for the tasks that they have to do during the maintenance visit, so that everything is available digitally for them when they go to site, so that customer is not really troubled or inconvenienced for any of the lack of support from the organization. And I'll just talk about one more element, which is very important for all of us to understand. Over a period of time, manufacturing sector has advanced And Otis fortunately has adopted flexible manufacturing system with a complete automation. This has given us a strong foundation for capacity expansion and also very robust quality management system. Of late, we are able to advance it into the Industry 4.0, and also this investment, whatever we have done on the flexible manufacturing system, is also giving us ability to be more resilient, give the more flexibility for the customer selections, and be fast in even deliveries. And with IoT, cloud computing, all these things coming into place, we'll be more happy and will be more delighting the customer, which will definitely satisfy the next set of KPIs. Let me talk about one last example, which we talked about the environmental friendliness. Look at the way nanotechnology has helped the paint industry. Today, we are using the nanotechnology, which is reducing the solid waste almost by 95%. And also it gives us more flexibility for satisfying the customer in terms of color shades and best quality, whatever we could have. And in the same direction, I think my friend Santosh talked about the BIM. BIM is definitely going in the right direction. And I'm glad that he mentioned about the digital twin. I totally support that statement. And also it provides a kind of a model for the whole building, which gives the multiple intent to be satisfied, be it traffic management, be it a connected system, or the compliance to the eco-friendliness or the green building, or the energy savings, last but not least, even complying to the safety standards. In short, what I can say is that we have to embrace the technology development in all across the industries and make our customers more and more happy. And probably it's a time where we revisit the fundamental KPIs and take KPIs in the different areas in terms of aesthetic, reliability, safety as well. With this, probably we'll have a very strong connection with the customer and continuity of this business also.
I think evolution of KPIs is for betterment of everyone. And
Yes.
I'm hoping that the entire ecosystem realizes that. Santosh, since you're so brilliant at following up what Ravi says, kick a couple of sound bites for me on this.
Yeah, actually, one point I just want Sudeep to add. See, this construction, you can talk to any person from my industry, in the project industry, like constructing the large infra projects and all. His biggest headache is the clashing with another services, let it be electrical, mechanical, or LV.
Absolutely.
When it comes to installation, there are 10 different vendors, 10 different suppliers. They have multiple drawings, and every vendor, every partner on the construction has his own schedule. He will claim, I have 50% completion. Someone will say, but I think the BIM is the only, I will just call it as a single source of truth. I mean, if it is a single, technology which can bind all stakeholders, it can also bind the, different inputs from the design. It also dictates the clashes, because sometimes, just removing one cable is not a big cost. But if there is a very big equipment which is already installed and it realize at the end it's clashing with some other services, we lose crores of rupees just to remove that equipment. So this BIM is not only a technology to support quality safety, but I see a larger portion in terms of saving the cost, time, and bringing all this productivity to the construction industry, because that's where you can simulate the drawings, you can simulate the all inputs, and then you can avoid a lot of laborious work, which is all we all struggling to get manpower today. Given pandemic situation, people are not available. So I think BIM has the potential to save cost, to add productivity, and make those. Now the customer, everybody is saying, you talk to any customer, you ask when it is required, he'll say it was required yesterday. So I mean, that's the kind of timeline which we are living in the world. I mean, that's a practical scenario, because people have lost almost 1 year of productivity. Everybody is worried about the revenue. Everybody want to get back into the business because there is a commitment to the employees, to the society and all. I think this technology is not an option, as I keep saying always, that this is mandatory and it's for the benefit of everybody, including the labor. I'm not talking about the CEOs of the world, but if you talk to even the labor in the site, this technology actually helps him to avoid the laborious job, which is well planned and which we can actually organize well before it goes into the messy situation.
Apologies, gentlemen, I got knocked off for some strange reason.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll just have a quick, because there's a question which has come up from the poll, and I think that's a fairly interesting one. The audience has sent one. which is in terms of the customer client requirements. What are really clients expecting from building product manufacturers, fabricators? So if we can quickly invite Nagaraj on that one.
One of the thing what the customers or clients like me, like I'm in an engineering industry, where we expect is the mass customization. It's a mass customization is nothing but it is like we have to bring in we have to bring in combination of flexibility and the personalization of the products that has been built during the construction stage. That is custom made based on our requirement, where we expect the industrial construction also to come out with some ideas to provide the better solutions during the construction stage is what we are looking at. Just to give a brief for easy understanding of everyone, take it from Mr. Ganesh's input, housing. Modular kitchen, if you take that earlier, the kitchen is like bigger halls and almost like a hall what we are using now. Previously, that was a kitchen 20, 30 years back. So we can spread across all the utensils and other things, we can keep everything. But now it is hardly 8 feet to 10 by 10, 8 by 10 by feet. So that we have to use all this, keep all the utensils, we have to make use of this kitchen work. At the same time, we also expect the kitchen to look beautiful. So the facade and aesthetics, all those things are extremely important. So it has to be customized. So we expect the people to give a modular kitchen, and it is not only providing a solution for keeping the items, also it makes the place looks very beautiful. The similar way, if you extend the same thing, the concepts to the industrialized construction, we expect the similar. For example, we look, currently also we are looking for some kind of an expansion, construction. One of the things what we look at is the space is extremely important and it is very costly. So we need to say a lot of space, where we are expecting. Previously, this mass customization was used as a marketing technique for the people to provide some kind of a niche solution. But now it has become a need where people have to really come out with the digitalization, and the BIM kind of solutions are available. We are looking for what kind of solutions they can bring in terms of space saving, like verticalization, how their space can be built in rather than shop floor having a horizontal space utilization, how it can be built in as the vertical space utilization, how this fabrication can help us. So those are the things which we are looking for a kind of solution through this mass customization. So that is where one look at it. And we also talk about the facade, like aesthetics point of view. It is extremely important. It is not for just attracting how beautiful the construction is. It is very important in terms of making the place look beautiful, and aesthetics and elevation has to be extremely important. It gives a lot of pride for the employees. Nowadays, the morale and other things are extremely important for the people to work. One of the big thing the employees feel pride about the place where they work. So when they are entering into premises, and when the guests and visitors and customers come and say that you are working in a very beautiful place, it gives a lot of pride. The employees are, though it is not a direct requirement, but still it gives a lot of pride in the place where we are working. So this facilities and the facade, these are all extremely important, I feel. Apart from that, for examples, what we can do is the rooftops or the solar systems which is needed. Previously, the solar system for environmental friendly we used to provide. We talk about a lot of space, but what is the customization we can do to save space at the same time we can provide this kind of green energy. Those kind of also will be a good system where this will help. So this is where I feel that providing this kind of solutions through this mass customization will be extremely important for people like us. And as a client, we will be expecting these kind of solutions, like using digitalization, which will really help us to move forward through this industrialized construction.
Can I have the poll question, please, quickly? The poll question is here. What are the challenges you are facing as a BPF manufacturer? Increased need to customize solution and closer collaboration with suppliers, compliance and BM mandate, digitalization and managing product data and delivery, collaboration between key stakeholders, unable to get a specified in large building products, or others. The other question, you can choose any one of them. The other question related to the poll is, would you like to be contacted by Autodesk solution expert to address these challenges? Thank you. I think we have got the respective answers.
That's interesting to look at what the poll is telling us. So increased customized solutions. So that's exactly what Nagaraj was telling us is in the pandemic, we have got so used to our OTTs that we want everything which is mass customized. If you are watching this, this is what you should be watching next. We want that with our building products as well. That's interesting. And collaboration between stakeholders. Yes, we heard again stories on I have completed X amount of work. So that's useful. Thank you so much. So, team, I think it's been a very nice and lively interaction. We would have hoped to see a lot more discussions which are around Industry 4.0, but we saw a very good cross section on customer experience, on sustainability, and various facets of the process. But the singular theme which has come across is around BIM. So can I request Veera to come in and give his inputs on where we lost him? Is how do you see if this gets mandated, and it's already mandated in many parts? What is the compliance requirements? How do you see it, Veera?
How can the building product manufacturers be compliant with BIM mandates? Because BIM mandates are for real. So before I even go to the how, I just want to talk a little bit about the why you should be interested about that. Why you should be interested about that is you are at a risk of not being specified in their projects. Okay, so you are not the only manufacturer who is bidding for the project or for supplying your products, but there are others. Okay. So about the why, so the AEC industries, we all know it's undergoing a transformation on multiple fronts. Right? So built environments themselves are changing, with spaces becoming more organic, connected, sustainable. So the design processes are increasingly digital and data-driven, which was not the case earlier. And seamless collaboration is becoming a need both within and outside the firewall of the company. So as a building product manufacturer, you are at the center of it. Okay. So you make the products that you have the knowledge and expertise essential for the AEC to make better design decisions. You own the data your collaborators and client needs. Okay, so what do they need? Okay. So the construction companies are reaching out to manufacturing companies, requesting BIM objects. Okay, so let's take an example of Mr. Ravi Shankar's elevator. Otis is not the only company manufacturing elevators. So how does Otis make sure that he gets the business? Okay. So the building project may contact the manufacturing companies requesting for BIM objects. And BIM objects are nothing but, these are 3D models. Okay? Now, as a manufacturing company, you tend to give just the 3D model in a neutral format to the building supplier, but that's not useful for them. So the 3D models take different configurations. They call it as LOD, level of details.
Okay.
So at the RFP stage, you don't require you don't require the full model. You just need this. You're designing the space. So, and right up to when you're handed over the project, then the ops and maintenance at the other side may require a detailed model. That is when you need to be. Okay? So the BIM object is something which is required as a part of bid or purchasing process today. All right. So it is very imperative that the building product manufacturing companies they need to make sure they're delivering to their expectations so that they can be specified in the building project. Because a building project, you are not going to supply one of your products. It's going to be supplied in goes into different areas of the entire infrastructure that is being built, right? Another requirement is what the construction companies are looking for is asking you to design in context. Okay, so they say, we'll give you a building model and you design your elevator or escalator, your balcony or whatever things. So which means you had a question earlier, Sudeep, how can you respond to changing requirements? How do you do that? Okay, and in a seamless and collaborative way. So these are some of the agilities that is expected from a building product manufacturer today. Okay, so if as a building product manufacturer, you can comply with the BIM requirements in an RFP quickly and easily, it differentiates your product and company. So, and in short, it makes your products easier for your customers to be specified in their design and increases the chance of your company winning more business. So that's why you should be more interested in being compliant to the BIM mandates that are coming your way. Thank you.
So I think that's useful, Veera. And what I heard from you and my takeaway from this discussion is, unless all the players in the ecosystem are on the platform, the benefits are unlikely to accrue. So for the benefit of the audience, will it be possible to share, in your estimate, how many architects or what percentage of architects in India would be on BIM, or is that still difficult to estimate? Your views?
So, if I have to tell you, if you ask the architect themselves, they'll say all of them are. But the implementation and adoption varies. Okay? Everyone wants to be on board, but there has to be a proper adoption, which is happening, and it has happened much more than what it was earlier a couple of years back. And COVID certainly did accelerate many of these things. So there is a large amount of adoption happening, and as a building product manufacturer, we should all be very wary of this technology and be BIM ready. Okay, so whatever products and services that you're giving, which goes into a infrastructure. Okay? So if you want to differentiate yourselves from your competitor, then you better be BIM ready.
Thank you so much. And
just one thing I want to add on,
yes.
we don't find the BIM experts very easily. I mean, we still have shortage of people who have those kind of skills. I think one is the adoption rate is slow. I think I just request Autodesk to see how we can build that skill set very fast, because on one side it will help people to adopt. I mean, it's a good technology, but I am not still convinced that it has reached to the larger scale. We still are getting the resource who fully understand the BIM concepts and all those things. So
absolutely, Santosh.
Stage of adoption.
Yeah, you're 100% true, and we can connect one-on-one sometime later.
Absolutely. In fact, that's exactly Veera, what I was going to say is, given the variety and richness of this panel, maybe we should all be exchanging notes on first what we have done in terms of our customers and our utilization of this wonderful technology, and which customers do we see adopting this technology, so that if there's something we can learn from one another, I think we can only build on this. I think that's a wonderful proposition, Santosh. I appreciate it. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining in, sparing your valuable time. If the audience has any questions later on, I think the panel will be more than happy to address. And thank you for being there. I think we have already lost some 30 of our participants, so I think we are on time. So back to you, Sanjay.
Thank you, Sudeep. I think it was really wonderful. I think the whole session went so smoothly. And in fact, we didn't know how we spent so much of our time. We never counted time, in keeping up all the speakers, In fact, their answers were so interesting, so useful. So it's been a great evening of knowledge sharing today. I think, the session was much useful for me as an individual, and also I think informative for the overall industry professionals. There were many takeaways from today's session, and, I take my, over the time we spent today, it was very, very interactive, and there are many questions which have come across to us, but we couldn't take them due to the time constraints. Let me thank all the participants who have taken their time today for this wonderful discussion, and also the audience have been very interactive till now. And we look forward for various interesting sessions like this in our future sessions. We'll be having the recording of this webinar live on our website and YouTube, hopefully by next week. And the session will be also covered in our Manufacturing Today magazine. I am glad to announce our Manufacturing Today Conference and Awards, which is on 17th of September, which is one of the industry's prestigious awards, which the whole industry is waiting for this awards ceremony. We already had done the nominations this year, and now the big evening rather is on 17th September. So I'll ask all the participants, please do register here and witness the excellence in Indian manufacturing and be part of this great event. Thank you once again, each one of you, and I wish you all the very best.